Hello, my mystic friends. Let's talk about life. If you feel like your life has been speeding up and that the old version of you or the old reality of things is collapsing and like you can't go back to the way you used to be, you are not imagining it. We are standing at the edge of one of the biggest astrological turning points of our lifetime. I'm Patricia Tate with Willow Astrology, and I want to thank you for being here. So let's dive into this. I am going to share with you for all 12 signs about the Neptune and the Saturn conjunction that will be at 0 degrees, and this will be at February 20th. Now, there's a lot of things happening at the same time. We're going to be having an eclipse. We also have the North Node and Venus meeting up at 8 degrees, but I need to break it up into separate videos. And so in this video, I want to break down just what Saturn and Neptune in Aries really means and why this conjunction is so important to each of us. So let's dive in. So for my Aries friends, you are going to be experiencing one of the most defining transits of your lifetime. You are going to have Saturn and Neptune in a conjunction at 0 degrees. Saturn crossing into your first house, it marks the beginning of a new personal cycle for you that will be going over the next 3 years. Neptune joining here brings this dissolving of who you used to be, and Saturn, the building up of who I am. And so this marks the beginning of an entirely new personal cycle for you. This is a moment of deep self authorship for yourself. You are now being invited to step into a more mature, a more grounded version of yourself, one that acts with intention rather than impulse. There can be these opportunities that are going to be coming up to rebuild who you are on the inside out. Remember, the first house is how you present yourself to the world. It's who you are, your business card, your website. It's how you look. It's things that you want to do. And this is about you acting with intention rather than impulse. Aries energy wants to act out. Saturn gives it the goal. Neptune is about the dream of. And so these opportunities, they can help you to rebuild your identity from the inside out. It looks at how do you show up for others? How do you lead? How do you initiate? How you reclaim your space within the world? There can be these long-term goals that once just kind of like felt out of reach, but now can become real through discipline and through consistency and through earned confidence. You are going to be learning how to embody authority, not by force, but by integrity, about who you are, the softer sides of yourself. Now, the challenge of this transit, it's about patience. Saturn and Neptune in your first house, it can feel heavy at times, wanting to dissolve quickly and wanting to have a container to hold everything in. The progress, it can feel like it's slower than you'd like, or that visibility requires more effort on your part. You might feel like you are tested around self-doubt, around physical vitality or your own confidence, especially if you are used to moving quickly. There could be old identity patterns or reactive behavior like rushing ahead, or a burnout that it just is no longer going to be working for you. Saturn is going to ask you to slow down. Neptune is going to ask you to tune in to your mind, your body, your spirit, of your direction, to dissolve, to move in alignment. Now, in the beginning, it can feel uncomfortable, but the goal is to be purposeful for it. This is not going to be a time for you to prove yourself. This is a year for you to become yourself, to literally step into that role, to build strength and patience, to choose actions that align with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Consistency is going to take you much farther than intensity ever could. My Aries friends, ask yourself, what version of myself am I ready to commit to in the long term? What have I been dreaming about? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. And for a mantra, I lead my life with courage, with discipline, and self-trust. So for my Aries friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Taurus friends, you are having Saturn and Neptune, and this conjunction is going to be happening in your 12th house. Now, know at the same time there's going to be an eclipse going on, and there's also going to be Venus conjunct the North Node. But I'm breaking this up into sections so you can digest it, because this alone is Saturn and Neptune journeying through your 12th house. It's initiating this powerful period of inner restructuring for you. It's about spiritual maturation. This is a behind the scenes cycle for you. It's about deep healing. It can bring about closure, preparations for what's to happen next. Remember, the 12th house is dreams, intuition, psychic ability, connection to our spiritual realm, our spiritual guides. It's astral travel, astral projection, and it's also the hidden. It's what we do in isolation or alone. And so you're going to have this opportunity to truly release those long-standing emotional patterns, these unconscious fears, these habits that drain your energy. This is about letting go of karma. Saturn and Neptune here, Saturn, first off, supports disciplined spiritual practices. Neptune is connection to source. It's about therapy. It's about dream work and intentional solitude to work with it. What you commit to now privately becomes this foundation for this profound personal rebirth when Saturn enters into your sign in 3 years. And this is going to be a time for you to really reclaim your own inner authority by tending to your mental, emotional, and your energetic health with seriousness and care. Now, the challenges. 12th house. The 12th house transit is, how do I learn to slow down without withdrawing completely from everything, from society? Neptune loves the 12th house because it's connection to spirit, to divine, to source. Saturn in the 12th house, it can feel isolating or heavy at times, especially if there's unresolved grief or if there's fatigue or subconscious anxiety that just bubbles up and rises to the surface. You may feel less visible, like doing things behind the scenes, or temporarily unsure of what is your direction. This can be a tendency to also judge yourself harshly for needing the rest or space. Saturn here is going to ask you to confront what you've avoided, and Neptune is going to ask you to dissolve it and let it go. Especially if these themes around fears or self-sabotaging patterns come up without escaping and without numbing out. This is going to require honesty and patience and compassion for yourself first. Know that this is not going to be a time to force the answers to come. Trust that the meaningful work that's happening beneath the surface. Honor rest as productive time for you to tap into receiving the messages, the downloads. Tend to your own inner world with devotion, knowing that clarity and strength, they can quietly rebuild from within. My Taurus friends, ask yourself, what are you ready to release so that you can step into this next chapter unburdened? A mantra for you can be, I honor my own inner work, and I am trusting the timing of my becoming. So for my Taurus friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Gemini friends, you are having the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in the sign of Aries in your 11th house. At the same time, we're also going to be having the eclipse and Venus conjunct the North Node. All of these are so important on their own, but I want to break it down into segments that are bite-sized and manageable. So Saturn and Neptune moving through, it's activating this brand new chapter with the house of community, long-term goals, your networks, the people that you collaborate with, your future vision, your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. This is going to be such a powerful period for you for redefining what and who you are building towards, like what you are, your goals, your dreams. You are going to have the opportunity to clarify what are your aspirations, and to commit to goals that feel very purposeful rather than just trendy or externally driven. Saturn here, it supports leadership. Neptune will dissolve anybody or anything that's not in alignment with you. Saturn wants you to support the leadership within the groups or the networks or the social circles that you're in, with the creation of meaningful alliances. This is about steady development of what are your dreams. Saturn wants short, middle, long-term goals that require time and persistence. Those are Saturn themes. Now, friendships, collaborations, and these professional networks, they can become more solid, more reliable, especially when they're built on like shared values and mutual accountability. This is going to be a time to shift from these scattered hopes to a more focused and intentional future of what do you want. Now, the challenge of this transit, it lies in discernment. Saturn here, it tests your social world by revealing which connections are sustainable and which are draining or outdated. Neptune here can take these illusions and say, it's time to dissolve this. I no longer feel connected to this group. It can also bring in groups and networks and other people for you to build with. Now, some friendships, they can fall away, especially those that are based on convenience rather than in alignment. You might also feel pressure around whether your goals are realistic or fear that progress is slower than expected. Saturn here is going to ask you to confront your doubts about belonging or visibility and to take responsibility with your role from within these communities. Neptune can dissolve and give you the faith and the hope in, no, this is really what I want. Now, this can truly feel sobering, but it's ultimately strengthening your sense of your purpose and your direction. I'm encouraging you to follow through with quality over quantity of groups, networks, and the collaborations. Commit to visions that you have that truly matter to you, even if they require more patience. The future that you're building, it needs structure, it needs clarity, and it needs integrity, not just constant scattered movement. So, my Gemini friends, ask yourself, what goals or communities are truly worth your long-term commitment? And so a mantra for you can be, I am building my future with intention, with integrity, and aligned connection. So for my Gemini friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Cancer friends, you are having this life-changing conjunction happening at the highest point of your chart, your 10th house. This is your career, your job, your reputation, your legacy, your responsibilities. Everything is now shifting. Now, at the same time, we're going to have Venus conjunct the North Node, and we're going to be having an eclipse. But I want to break it down into segments so you can understand the different, because this is in 3 different houses, it's in 3 different areas of your life. And so this conjunction happening in your 10th house of career, your public life, you being visibly seen, reputation, long-term direction. This is really a defining chapter for your outer world and for the role that you are now stepping into professionally and publicly. You have the opportunity to truly claim this greater authority, to establish credibility, to build something that's lasting, that reflects your evolving sense of purpose. Saturn here, it supports this disciplined effort, leadership, development, and the steady pursuit of goals that matter deeply to you. Neptune, it is the dreams. It's bringing in and dissolving the other layers of I didn't think I could do this, or the faith and the hope and the belief of. Saturn is supporting you to have this disciplined effort to commit to things. Now, knowing that the goals need to be set for short, middle, and long term. so that things can be built slowly. Know that recognition, it can come slowly, but everything that you're building now has this durability and that has respect attached to it. Those are Saturn themes. Neptune themes are, this is what I dream about. This is like the community, the networks of. And so this is really going to be a time for you to align your personal ambitions with integrity to redefine what does success truly mean to you. Now, it can come with some challenges. The challenge of it, first off, is going to be Saturn and the weight, the heaviness of Saturn. Neptune, remember, flows, dissolves. Saturn in your 10th house, it can truly feel demanding, bringing this increased expectations, pressure, visibility that may feel uncomfortable at times. And Neptune is foggy or unclear. I'm not 100% sure. I cannot see crystal clear. I have to feel my way through. You may wrestle with fears around failure or judgment or not being enough, and balancing professional commitments with your own personal and emotional needs. It can be tricky, especially if you are used to prioritizing others over yourself. Saturn will not allow avoidance. And if something is in your career path that just feels misaligned, it's going to become crystal clear. Allow Neptune to dissolve it and to move it away. Now, I'm encouraging you to know that this is not a transit that says, I have to chase approval. This is about building a life that you can stand behind with pride. Let your emotional intelligence guide your leadership. Be the role model. Move step by step, knowing that true authority, it is earned through consistency and integrity and care. So for my Cancer friends, ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want your work to leave behind? How do you want to be remembered? I would love to hear about that in the comments below. And a mantra for you: I lead with integrity, and I am building a future that I respect. So for my Cancer friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Leo friends, you are having the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in the sign of Aries in your 9th house. Now at the same time, you also have the Sun and Moon eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, and the North Node and Venus at 8 degrees in Pisces. So 3 separate things are all happening at the same time, but they're in 3 separate houses. So I'm breaking it down into chunks for you. Now, this Saturn-Neptune conjunction is in your 9th house that revolves around themes of your higher belief system, learning, purpose, teaching, studying, long-range vision, traveling, cross-cultural experiences. This is really going to be a powerful period for redefining what gives your life meaning and purpose. You are being asked to take your philosophy, your spiritual path, or your educational pursuits seriously, to move from inspiration into a lived wisdom. Saturn supports disciplined study and teaching and publishing and committing to a path that expands your worldview in tangible ways. Neptune wants you to seek things that mean something to you, to connect with cross-cultural experiences and places and things that broaden your horizons, that broaden your mind. And so there can be travel or mentorship or advanced training that now plays a role in your life. But know that it's only if it serves a deeper purpose, because Saturn wants to do things that either that create sustainability over a longer period of time. So you're going to have this opportunity to ground in your faith, to not look at it as blind belief, but as something that is earned through experience and effort and reflection. Now, know that this transit, it also brings challenges. The challenge can be you confronting these outdated beliefs or assumptions in how life should unfold, like the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And Saturn here, it can feel limiting at first. Neptune wants to dissolve, and Saturn wants a form of structure. It wants to take and understand something deeply. And especially if you are craving freedom or spontaneity, or to take these big leaps of faith, You might question your own sense of direction, or it might feel slowed when you are like seeking expansion, either through study or through travel or through like publishing things or becoming the teacher, like the student becomes the teacher. There can also be these moments of doubts around whether your truth is valid or it's supported. Saturn is asking you to replace certainty with wisdom and to test what you believe against lived reality. And Neptune is having the faith of. So let this be a time of conscious expansion for you. Choose paths that require commitment, not escape. The meaning that you are now building, it's meant to support you for the long haul. This is not just to inspire you temporarily. So, my Leo friends, ask yourself, what belief or what vision are you ready to commit to living and not just believing? So, for my Leo friends, a mantra can be, I walk my truth with discipline, courage, and lived wisdom. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here. So for my Virgo friends, you are having Saturn Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees in the sign of Aries in your 8th house. Now at the same time, we're going to be having this eclipse with the sun and the moon in your 7th house or 6th house, and the Venus and North node in your 7th house. So 3 major conjunctions all happening at the same time, and I wanted to break it down into 3 separate videos because it's a lot to take in with 3 separate houses. And so I'm starting with Saturn and Neptune. This is your 8th house of shared resources, of where you are invested with your time, your effort, your energy, your money, your resources with other people. This can include emotional bonds, transformation, psychological depth. This is a really powerful period for reclaiming your own authority over what you share. Your energy, your finances, your time, your trust, your emotional vulnerability. This is the house of, think of it as a magnet. It's about power and control and who has it. You have this opportunity to truly establish these clear boundaries within these intimate relationships and to restructure your financial agreements, debts, inheritances, or long-term investments with greater maturity and having the foresight of. Saturn here supports you doing the deep inner work, the therapy, the counseling, trauma healing, the steady rebuilding of trust, both with others and within yourself. Neptune here dissolves things, allows it to wash away, to have that inner healing. This transit, it's really here to help you develop this emotional resilience and a stronger sense of like inner security that's not dependent upon external validation from other people, places, and things. Now, the challenge that comes from this is Saturn and Neptune in the 8th house. It's confronting the discomfort rather than managing around it. It definitely kicks up old fears that are related to loss and control and dependency or codependency. All of these topics, they come back up to take a second look at. They resurface, especially where you have felt responsible for other people's emotional or material well-being. There can be power imbalances in relationships that can just no longer be ignored. You may feel this pressure or face financial or emotional realities that you previously avoided. This will say you have to look at them. You have to look at the reality of things. Saturn asks for honesty, accountability, to have courage, particularly in situations where vulnerability, it feels risky or unfamiliar. Know that this transit, it's not about like tightening the control. It's about deepening the trust where it is earned with others. Allow yourself to move more slowly through transformation. What you are rebuilding now is meant to support long-term emotional and energetic stability, not just quick relief. Ask yourself, my Virgo friends, where are you being asked to redefine trust and boundaries and shared responsibilities? I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra for you is, I meet transformation with courage, with clarity, and with self-respect. So thank you, my Virgo friends. I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. Hello, my Libra friends. So you are having the Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees in your partnership sector. If you are the Libra, the Aries area of your life is everybody else. Best friends, significant others. It is contracts and negotiations. We call it the +1 house. Now at the same time, we're having the sun and the moon with an eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, and we're having Venus conjunct the North Node in Pisces. So 3 separate major things all activating at the same time, and I'm breaking it down because it's 3 separate houses, all of this adding to the story. So let's just talk about Saturn and Neptune. This being in the house of partnerships and relationships and contracts and your long-term commitments with others. This is really going to be this defining period of how you engage with others on a one-on-one level. You're going to have this opportunity to build partnerships that are grounded in mutual responsibility, honesty, maturity, while these new commitments that are formed, they now have the potential to have longevity and lasting partnerships. Saturn supports conscious agreements. Neptune dissolves and it brings in, it gives us this faith and this hope and this belief, this dreamy quality here. And Saturn wants things that will be, that will last, short, middle, long-term goals. And so this is a look at supporting conscious agreements that can be romantic or business or personal, that are based on equity rather than compromise at your own expense. This is going to be a time to redefine, what does true partnership mean to you? Now, challenges of this transit. It will be you facing the relational truth of what goes on between you and others. Having Saturn in your partnership sector, it really tests and delays and gives you these reality checks within partnerships. Neptune dissolves them, allows them to go to the wayside, and it also brings in new. It allows you to shift and move where you're supposed to be with people that you're meant to be in alignment with. Relationships that rely heavily on avoidance or imbalances or unspoken expectations, they can feel heavy or strained. That's what this transit will bring up for you. You might encounter these fears around commitment or rejection or being alone, especially if you have historically prioritized harmony over being authentic. Saturn here is going to allow you to ignore what is truly out of alignment. Neptune is going to allow you to dissolve and let it go away and bring in new to you. This can feel sometimes confronting, but it also clears the way for relationships that are built on integrity and not just obligation. I am encouraging you to choose these relationships, both personal, professional, and collaborative, that grow with you, not the ones that want you to shrink. Speak your truth clearly with everyone, even when it feels uncomfortable. Healthy partnerships, they're built through consistency, accountability, and a mutual respect of reciprocity. So, my Libra friends, ask yourself, which relationships in my life are now ready to evolve and which need clear boundaries for closure? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra can be, I am committing to relationships that honor my truth and balance and mutual growth with reciprocity. So for my Libra friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. Hello, my Scorpio friends. You are having Saturn conjunct Neptune at 0 degrees in the sign of Aries in your 6th house. Know that at this same time, we're also going to have Venus conjunct the North Node in your 5th house, and you're going to have an eclipse starting in the sign of Aquarius at the bottom of your chart, your 4th house. 3 huge things all happening at the same time. So I'm breaking it down into sections according to houses to better help you to digest what the story is about. And so for you, my Scorpio friends, this is activating your house of daily work, your routines, your health, your mind, your body, your spirit, your acts of service to others. This is really going to be this powerful period of restructuring. How do you manage your time, your effort, your energy. You have the opportunity to truly build something that's sustainable with your habits that support your long-term vitality, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. Saturn supports discipline in areas such as wellness and movement and nutrition and skill development in order to help you to turn these small daily choices into lasting strength. Neptune says, I need to be able to feel connected to source, my mind, my body, my spirit. It all needs to be in alignment. And if this isn't working, it needs to go away. Remember, this is the house of alternative healthcare practices and healing and modality. So professionally, this transit also favors consistency and craftsmanship and you taking your responsibilities very seriously. You might possibly want to refine your role at work or step into maybe greater accountability or commit to a path of service that just feels purposeful rather than just draining. Like, where do I want to volunteer my time? How can I give back to others? What you build now through steady effort, it can dramatically improve the quality of your life. Now, know that there are also challenges that come with it. The challenge here is first of Saturn. Saturn is you confronting burnout and imbalances within your daily life and your practices honestly. If your routines are misaligned or your work environment is unhealthy, Saturn is going to make this crystal clear, often through fatigue or frustration or physical signs that cannot be ignored. Neptune here, this is like, I just want to numb out. I don't want to have to think about this. This could be mind and body and spirit, and knowing that I need to stay in the moment. You might feel pressure to just do more with less, or to struggle with rigidity around being productive. Saturn asks that you take responsibility for your health and your well-being, rather than pushing your way through at your own expense. Neptune says there needs to be this healthy balance. Let it wash away and let me work within the alignments of my own body, of setting my own schedule for things. This can require letting go of perfectionism in favor of consistency and making sure that you are caring for your body as the temple. Know that the opportunities here is the power of daily devotion to yourself. Your life, it is shaped by what you do repeatedly. Choose routines that truly strengthen you rather than deplete you. Remember that sustainable progress, it's built one intentional step at a time, one goal, short, middle, and long. So my Scorpio friends, ask yourself, what daily habit or routine is ready to be rebuilt so it will truly support my well-being? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra for you can be, I honor my body, my work, my energy with discipline and care. So for my Scorpio friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Sagittarius friends, you are having Saturn and Neptune in a conjunction at 0 degrees in the sign of Aries in your 5th house. At the same time, you're also going to have Venus conjunct the North Node in your home sector and the eclipse starting in your 3rd house. So 3 major events all happening at the same time, but I want to break it down into manageable pieces of advice or chunks for you. So Saturn and Neptune together in your 5th house is totally rewriting creativity, self-expression, joy, romance, your own authentic voice. This is really going to be this powerful period for you to take your creative life seriously. This is the house of what do I want to create or give birth to, literally or figuratively. You are being asked to move beyond casual inspiration here and to commit to truly what lights you up, whether that's an artistic pursuit or a passion project or a leadership role, or this could be a deeper relationship just with joy itself. Saturn here, it supports disciplined creativity. It helps you to turn raw talent into enthusiasm, into something that's lasting and meaningful. Neptune here, it gives you this faith, the dreams, the belief, the spirituality of connecting and feeling the connection through it. If you have wanted to teach or to perform or to write or to create something that reflects your own inner truth, this is going to be the time that you're going to want to build it steadily. You are learning that joy, it can be intentional and it's not accidental. So the challenges of this transit is facing fear around visibility, vulnerability. Having Saturn here, let's start with Saturn. It can temporarily dampen spontaneity, your confidence, especially when it's used to expressing yourself freely without restraint. Neptune here gives, remember it's blurry, it's foggy, and you don't always see everything, and it's wanting that feeling, wanting to, like the escapism that can sometimes come. There can be possibility of you encountering self-doubt. Remember, Neptune dissolves and it leaves us feeling like blurry or foggy. There could be creative blocks or questions about whether your voice truly matters, whether this is really a form of art, who's going to appreciate it anyway. There can be romantic dynamics or relationships with children that also require greater responsibility or emotional maturity for you. Saturn asks that you confront where you hold back out of fear and judgment or failure. Neptune says, let it go, let it flow away and allow the rest to come to you, to stay committed even when the process feels serious or slow. Know that this is not about performing for approval. This transit is about you expressing what is true within you. Let discipline support your creativity rather than just squashing it or stifling it. What you build from your own heart with patience and courage, it will endure. Ask yourself, my Sagittarius friends, what creative passion or joy are you ready to commit to for the long term? I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra for you is, I express my truth with courage, devotion, and creative integrity. So thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Capricorn friends, know that this is about your chart ruler. You have Saturn in a conjunction with Neptune, and it's at the bottom of your chart, your fourth house, your home, your family, your foundation. What's also happening at the same time is we're having an eclipse in your second house of money, and Venus is conjunct the North Node in your third house of communication. Three huge things all happening at the same time. And so I'm breaking them down into manageable chunks that you can process and digest. So let's just talk about the biggest, which is Saturn, your ruler, and Neptune in your home sector. This is about home, family, foundations, your own inner security. This is going to be this profound period of restructuring at the roots of your life. This is you having the opportunity to build something that is stronger, more authentic, with a sense of belonging, one that reflects who you are now, not who you once were or who you were expected to be, other people's expectations put upon you. Saturn, it supports the long-term decisions around housing and land and family responsibilities, and it's reminding you of what home truly means to you. Now, know that Neptune dissolves. It allows you to let go. This is like losing what was old, but it was not supporting you or sustainable, and it brings in faith, hope, and belief, the dream home that you want to build. Now, emotionally, this transit helps you to develop this inner authority and resilience. This is allowing you to feel grounded from the inside out, rather than just relying on external validation from other people. What you establish now becomes the foundation for your next public or professional chapter of your life. Now, challenges. The challenge here is Saturn, your chart ruler, at the bottom part. It's emotional weight. It can be physical weight. There can be old family patterns or ancestral expectations or unresolved think of it as childhood dynamics that resurface. They're asking for mature engagement rather than avoidance. Neptune wants to dissolve, allow it to move on, and to see through what you dreamed, what you believed, and really what was. And you might feel pulled between your private relationships and responsibilities and these outer ambitions, or these experiences of heaviness that's related to home or family obligations, like feeling pulled or drawn back into it. Saturn is going to ask you to confront what no longer feels supportive, like at your core. It's like, tune in. This either feels supportive or if it does not. Even if doing so requires you having those difficult conversations or restructuring those long-held arrangements, Neptune is saying, this is what I believe I can build. This is what's going to be sustainable. I need to have these short, middle, and long-term goals. This is the home that I want to build, and the rest will dissolve. Now, this can make you feel very vulnerable, especially if you're used to being the strong one. I'm encouraging you to know that this is about strengthening your inner foundation before pushing forward externally. Create a home physically and emotionally, one that nourishes you, because when your roots are stable, everything else can rise with integrity and confidence. My Capricorn friends, ask yourself, what does emotional security look like for you right now? And how can you build it? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra can be, I build my life on a foundation of inner strength, safety, and truth. So for my Capricorn friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Aquarius friends, know that Saturn is one of your co-rulers. And so you have Saturn and Neptune in a conjunction in your third house. What's happening at the same time is you're having an eclipse in your first house of your identity, and Venus and the North Node in a conjunction in your second house of your money, your skill set, your resources of security. And so I'm breaking this down into segments or chunks because it's 3 separate houses that tell a complete story about you. And so for you, my Aquarius friends, this activation is activating your third house of communication and learning, your mindset. It's your everyday interactions of what you say to others and how you receive the information. This is going to be this powerful period of refining how you think, how you speak, how you share your ideas. You are going to have this opportunity to develop mental discipline, sharpen your voice, and taking your own words seriously, whether through writing or teaching or speaking, or think structured learning like a class or a workshop. Neptune here can dissolve. It can remove, and Saturn wants to build with goals, short, middle, and long-term goals. Now, Saturn here, it supports these long-term projects that involve communication, education. Think of it as skill building that requires focus and persistence. Neptune, what are you dreaming? What do you want to make happen? Connecting with other people, places, and things. You might step into a role of authority within your local community, or take responsibility for guiding others through with knowledge and clarity, like sharing your voice with other people. Know that what you build now through thoughtful communication, it has this lasting impact. Now, the challenges of this transit is it's mental pressure. Remember, all of this is happening in the house of things that you hear and think, like your own thoughts rolling around in your head. Saturn here can feel heavy at times. It brings self-doubt. It brings around expressing yourself, of fear, being misunderstood. Neptune, foggy, blurry, unclear. And you might experience delays in learning or in writing blocks, or I have a learning disability. How do I work around it? What can I do to support myself through this? Now, this can also be about writing blocks or frustration in your everyday interactions with other people. There could be issues or topics of relationships with your siblings or neighbors or cousins, or close connections that just require clearer boundaries or a more mature communication style. Saturn asks you to slow your thinking, to question your assumptions, to And Neptune is asking for some things to be dissolved and to replace the scattered information with intentional understanding. This can definitely feel restrictive, but it also strengthens your clarity and your confidence for over a longer period of time. Know that this is going to be a time that you can choose your words carefully. They are going to be shaping your reality. Commit to practices that can strengthen your mind, such as journaling or studying or conscious dialogue. It's the thoughts that you say to yourself just as much as the things that you say to others. What you learn and communicate now is going to form this mental framework for what you rely on for the years to come. So, my Aquarius friends, ask yourself, what message or skill are you ready to develop with greater discipline and intention? I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra for you is, I speak and I think with clarity, purpose, and responsibility. So for my Aquarius friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. So for my Pisces friends, Neptune is your chart ruler, and whenever it makes a major turn, this is time for you to tune in, and this is going to be one of those major events. You have Saturn and Neptune forming this conjunction at 0 degrees in your second house that has to do with your money, your talents, your skill set, what you have for a sense of security, like what do I need? And what's also going on is you have Venus and the North Node in your first house of identity, and you're having the eclipse in your 12th house, starting a new eclipse cycle. So 3 major transits all happening at the same time. So I'm breaking them down into sections, into chunks. And so let's just talk about Saturn and Neptune, your chart ruler. It's activating your second house of income, self-worth, your personal resources, your personal values. This is really going to be this powerful period that will redefine what you truly value and how do you support yourself in these tangible ways. You're going to have this opportunity to truly build greater financial stability through discipline, through consistency, through clear priorities. Saturn, it supports long-term planning, like short, middle, long-term goals around money and skills and material security. It helps you to turn your talents into reliable sources of income. Neptune dissolves and then gives us the dream, the belief of this is really what I want to do. And this is a hope of mine. This is a belief of mine. This is a dream of mine. Now, beyond finances, this transit, it's inviting you to strengthen your sense of self-worth. This is about learning to trust your personal abilities to claim value in everything that you offer. Know your value, know your worth. What you build now, it can provide this lasting confidence and independence for you. Now, what comes with it is the challenge. The challenge here is Saturn. Saturn asks us to buckle down. Neptune can dissolve, remove, allow to flow away. And so having them both in your second house, it's confronting the scarcity thinking, the scarcity mindset of money and cash, resources, talents. It allows self-doubt to creep in. You might become aware of where you undervalue yourself or where you rely on external validation from others for your own security. There can be financial responsibilities that just feel heavier at times, requiring careful budgeting or restructuring. Having Saturn here, it's asking you to face these fears around stability and self-reliance without escaping, Neptune dissolving, escaping, or idealizing. This can feel really uncomfortable, especially if you prefer to just go with the flow rather than to plan. Saturn's going to say we need a plan. We need to make this happen. But this is about ultimately empowering you. This is truly going to be a time to anchor your dreams into the reality of the here and now. Invest in yourself patiently. Build skills, habits, build these structures that support both your material needs and your deeper values. True security, it grows from honoring your own worth and taking yourself seriously. So, my Pisces friends, ask yourself, what do you truly value right now? And how can you align your resources with that? And that's people, places, and things. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. And a mantra: I honor my worth. I am building stability with patience and self-trust. So for my Pisces friends, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below.